On March 23, 2012, NASA Mission Control informed the crew of the International Space Station, present in space, on the radio, that many micrometeorites were going to hit the ISS after 6 minutes. This radio message created panic in the entire ISS. The astronauts had so little time that they couldn't even change the direction of the station during this time. But the question is that in the part of space where the ISS is present, there are countless micrometeorites. Then, how does the International Space Station, i.e. ISS, save itself from these meteorites? How does it survive, without fuel and without any help from the Earth, to change the direction of the ISS, weighing as much as 380 vehicles? How was this work done? How many football field-sized ISS? Was it taken to space from the Earth? When the ISS is on the other side of Earth. So how to make contact with it? Welcome back to our new video. Dear viewers, $150 billion. Cost of ISS is one such home for humans in space, whose example is not found anywhere in history. Hundreds of high-tech devices have been installed to make it so far. It has 16 pressurized modules, which include separate modules for living and sleeping. An observation deck and 6 science labs have also different modules, which are all interconnected through airtight tunnels. Along with these, many spots are still vacant in ISS. Some are for parking extra capsules, and some have lifeboards parked on the ISS forever so that, in case of emergency, if there is any issue in international space, these lifeboards can bring astronauts safely to Earth. The International Space Station is the largest space station ever built. The ISS is as big as a football field. It's 400 kilometers away from the Earth, but still, it can be seen from the Earth with the help of binoculars. If you want to estimate its size from a real-life object, then understand that the bottom or base of the Burj Khalifa is as spread as the International Space Station is larger than this. The total weight of the ISS is 460,000 kg, is the same weight as 380 trains or 25 passenger buses. But the question is, how did such a heavy and such a huge ISS go into space? The ISS started with just 2 modules, and both of them were apart from each other and were connected in space. One module was made by America, and the second one was made by Russia. In 1992, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the United States and Russia collaborated, and together, both superpowers intended to build an international space station in space. First, Russia launched a module named Zarya, sent into space, and after that, America sent our Unity behind him. Unity was flying at a speed of 27,000 km/h, followed to Zarya on November 20th, 1998, at 6:40 a.m. Both these modules connected to each other 400 kilometers above the Earth. And thus, International Space Station was born. Since then, the last station has been in operation for the past 26 years, and engineers from all over the world have jointly built their own modules and sending them into space through rockets and connected them to ISS. Did you know that today from the International Space Station, the US and apart from Russia, Europeans and Japanese modules are also associated? From the year 2000 to the present day, 24 years have passed on the ISS, but not a single day has gone by that it has been empty. Yes, astronauts from one or another country are always present and involved on the ISS to meet the needs of the astronauts inside the ISS, all the facilities that any superstructure should have, in which oxygen is the most important. A human can live 3 weeks without food, and 3 days without water, but without oxygen, can survive for only 3 minutes. At 400 kilometers above the Earth, there is the ISS, where there is neither atmosphere nor oxygen for breathing. The biggest challenge for ISS is to provide fresh oxygen to the astronauts. The average person needs 15,000 liters, or 22 kilos of oxygen, to live a day in the ISS, providing approximately 200 kilos of oxygen per day for the 9 astronauts living in the ISS. It is really a big challenge. Here for astronauts, several days' oxygen supply in tanks exists, so that in case the system fails, the oxygen supply would be enough to keep astronauts alive until the rockets arrive from Earth. Technology has become so advanced today that from Earth to ISS, oxygen supply can be delivered in just 6 hours from Earth to the ISS, but only in that condition if the rocket is launched to deliver oxygen. This is a good way to succeed, but very costly, because the cost of a cargo rocket is $200 million to travel from Earth to the ISS. Food and other supplies are sent once every few months and are available for several months. But repeatedly using rockets to meet the oxygen demands of 200 kg per day is extremely difficult. Therefore, the ISS produces its own oxygen without dependence on Earth. It contains a small machine in it, which does nothing more than produce oxygen using water. When electricity passes through the water, it is divided into 2 parts. Breaks down into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen bubbles accumulate at the positive electrode, and oxygen bubbles accumulate at the negative electrode. Now, if the same experiment is performed on Earth, these bubbles would automatically separate from the water on their own, because gas obviously weighs less than water, but there is no gravity in space. The weight of gas is the same as that of water, meaning it's almost zero. So now, this machine is rotated in a circular motion to separate the oxygen from the water. Creates a centrifugal force which acts as artificial gravity. This rotation forces water to flow to the sides, leaving oxygen in the center, which the machine automatically collects and puts into a container. Now, here you might be wondering, if oxygen is produced in the ISS from water, then where does the water come from in the space? Here too, the brilliant engineering shows its brilliance in this process. The hydrogen gas that is released by astronauts' breath reacts with carbon dioxide gas exhaled by astronauts to regenerate water. And finally, methane gas is wasted into space. Producing oxygen for the International Space Station is a huge challenge in itself. But an even bigger challenge is to preserve this oxygen. Because if the space station has a small hole, the consequences will be quite dire. In just a second, the space station will explode and be torn to pieces. They will be destroyed by bursting. The recently destroyed Titan submersible is an example of it. There is a lot of pressure in the ocean, whereas Titan had controlled pressure. As soon as its hull leaked, the ocean pressure severely compressed it in less than a second. But in the space, the situation is completely opposite. The outside pressure is zero, while inside the ISS the pressure is maintained. Exactly like that of Titan. If there is even a small crack in it, it will decompress and explode. At the altitude at which the ISS orbits the Earth, there is a lot of space debris moving through space at very high speeds. These include parts of satellites and hundreds of small and large meteoroids. So the question arises, how does the ISS protect itself from these debris? The International Space Station orbits around the Earth at a speed of 27,000 km/h. It is orbiting at such a high speed that if it flew close to Earth at this speed, so in just 25 minutes it could cross the Pacific Ocean. The same Pacific Ocean that commercial planes take 13 hours to cross. It seems that at such a high speed, if it collides with a sand-sized meteoroid, then it will be like the car hitting a tree at 80 mph. On 23 March 2012, NASA Mission Control radioed the ISS crew that some space debris was heading straight for the ISS. No one knew how big the debris was. They had been informed only 6 minutes earlier. The entire crew immediately boarded the lifeboats. But luckily, space debris flies very close to the ISS without touching it. The matter passed, but every time it cannot be left to the mercy of fate against meteoroids. To protect even small particles, the ISS hull was made of bulletproof material. Just the way bulletproof vests are made has different layers, like this. The hull of the ISS was also made by combining different layers. The outermost layer was created with aluminum, followed by a woven material layer, and inside that, one of the 12 aluminum layers. A single metal is so strong, it is not as strong as cutting the same metal, spreading it into 2 or more layers. Every micrometer or particle that the sand-sized passes over the ISS, as many micrometeoroids are attacking. But these are its bulletproof layers that have protected the ISS for the past 26 years. But what will happen if ever a large meteorite comes in the way of the ISS? Not as big as a car size, but only 1 inch big. In this case, even the bulletproofing of the ISS would be useless if it struck at such speed. The mission control crew on the ground already estimates the location and position of the incoming meteorite on its way. If it is capable of causing harm, then in this situation the whole ISS would have to be moved out of the way by using the small thrusters on the ISS to change its trajectory. But these thrusters run on rocket fuel, and ISS has very few passes available only for emergency purposes. To end ISS's dependence on the Earth, a mechanism has been installed that can operate without using rocket fuel. 46,000 clue ISS's direction can change easily. Its center is fitted with small boxes, which are called Control Movement Gyroscope, or CMGs. How do they change the direction of the ISS, which is as large as a football field? Inside these boxes, there are flywheels fitted that spin at a speed of 6,600 revolutions per minute. Flywheels are heavy, round wheels just like the wheels of a train. When they are spun at high speed, they generate angular momentum. This momentum is transferred throughout the body of the ISS, and thus, the entire ISS begins to move in one direction. If the flywheel is spinning very fast, the direction of the ISS will change more, and the ISS will also rotate in the same direction. If you want to rotate the ISS in the opposite direction, the flywheel is also made to spin in the opposite direction. These flywheels are rotated with the help of electricity, which is generated by the solar panels installed on the ISS. Since we are talking about solar panels, let's mention that these solar panels are movable. Because the ISS moves so fast orbiting Earth from a distance, that in one day the sun rises here 16 times. And even when the sun rises, it shifts the position so fast that if the solar panels are fixed, they would not receive direct sunlight and would not produce electricity properly. Therefore, these solar panels should always be directed towards the sun. Solar panels on the ISS produce 120 kilowatts of electricity at a time. This is enough electricity to easily run 110 air conditioners on the Earth. Maintaining contact with astronauts on the International Space Station was also a major challenge for mission control. Communication is done through radio signals. These signals do not cross the Earth, and often, the ISS would be on the other side of the Earth. To resolve this issue, airplanes were previously used to intercept ISS radio signals and transmit them to mission control in Houston. This method was also costly and highly unreliable. Often communication with the ISS would be disconnected for up to an hour, until it returns to Earth's orbit and comes into the range of mission control. However, now this does not happen with the advent of technology. The use of high Earth orbit satellites has permanently eliminated communication issues. Whenever the ISS needs to contact mission control, first, the satellite catches the signals. Then the same signal is transmitted to the network of satellites. And then whichever satellite within range relays the signal to mission control in the Houston. Thus, with a delay of just a few seconds, astronauts present in the ISS can easily connect with their families. Scientists around the world have been working for the last 26 years to make the ISS self-sufficient. A space station that requires minimal Earth access. Many inventions have been made for this purpose. But there are still many requirements that need to be met. To complete this mission, it is necessary to take help from Earth, such as food items, chemicals for filtering water, spare parts, and crew shifting. Because an astronaut can't stay in space for more than 8 months, there are many labs on the International Space Station to conduct various types of experiments, most of which experiments are done on the human body. There is only one aim, is to understand that what difficulties humans may face when they go to Mars or deep space. The ISS is only 6 hours away from Earth. But when humans go to Mars, there will be neither Earth support, nor will the way back be so easy. Hopefully you enjoyed this video as well. Please don't forget to like and share. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.